Testing, testing, testing. What the hell? Child, I can't get my life together. Hey, y'all. Lord have mercy. Happy presidential debate where I just closed all of my windows. Donald Trump was just arriving. I was trying to show y'all that, but I effed it all up, child. I apologize, but shout out to everybody who is here. I see you, I appreciate you. You know what it is. We about to do this damn thing. We about to watch. We about to see what they got to say. Come alive. We got to see what DJT got to say. The racist against the black woman, child. Let me see if I can find that back so I can at least, I think he is on his way now at this point. Hold on. I don't know where Cam is, child. So listen, hopefully everybody got something to drink. I ain't got nothing to drink yet. Okay. Okay. But shout out to SKC, who is actually live right now. But earlier today, I was in his live stream, child, and he came up with, we need to play bingo tonight, y'all. All right, everybody boo Celine. Boo! I gotta get a boo button, okay? So we're gonna play bingo, all right? So that's when we gonna drink. When someone yells out bingo, what gets you bingo? You gotta have 5. Ain't no free spaces tonight. You gotta have 5 or we gonna be drunk, okay? Now, once somebody yelled a bingo, though, we're starting all over again. Don't be trying to take theirs from before, child, because they're going to keep saying this stuff over and over again. So when they say crime is down, shout out to Decline Management. There's a Thornton Township meeting going on right now. It don't look like it's that exciting. It looks like I just tuned in. Robert Hunt's been talking for the last 15 minutes. So Big Tiff and Thornton Township on the menu tomorrow, y'all. All right. Tonight, we got more important things to be worried about. All right. So bingo. Okay. So if you hear crime, I'm going to just say crime, even though crime is down is our thing. Crime, inflation, recession, democracy, January the 6th, the economy, Bidenomics, migrants, the border, gun debate, Roe v. Wade, equality, Project 2025, war, reproductive rights, and racism. So basically, we drinking all night. Anybody going to work tomorrow? Exactly, Sasodi. Anybody going to work tomorrow, child? At least I get to sleep in because I'm working from home tomorrow. Right now, all I got is water. But I was preparing everybody. They look like paratroopers coming up off of this plane. What is going on? Damn, he got the military on this damn plane. Look at these people coming off. Oh my goodness. But all right. So this don't start till 9:00. Obviously, we know that, right? So I got some information that we probably should be taking a look at before we get right into it. Okay. Because when they say what's going on, can we really believe what they say about what's going on? All right. So let me bring you some news so that we know what's going on, and then we can take it from there. Okay. So why don't we start in our favorite place, Chicago? We're coming back. I got my eye on it. Trust me, we ain't going to miss nothing. Okay. So let's go to Chicago and see what's going on there, because remember, crime is down.
Well, family and leaders of Gary, Indiana are asking for the community's help in a shooting that claimed the life of a mother of 6 Friday evening.
WGN's Christine Flores learned more about the innocent woman whose life had been lost in the gunfire.
Good evening. It was a powerful press conference that was held here by Gary leaders and family members who are asking people to come forward with information. They are mourning the loss of their loved one, who is a single mother of 6 children and was described as the life of the party, who simply wanted the best for her and her family.
But I'm saying today, this is not going to be the end. It's just the beginning. I'm not going to stop here.
Charlotte Tidwell gave us a glimpse.
Okay, so I feel bad for Meemaw right here. Okay, rest in peace to this woman that was taken out this last Friday. Today is Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's keep that in mind. I have seen this already. So she was taken out. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. on Friday. Today is Tuesday. This is Chicago. This is her mother right here.
Into the life of her daughter, 42-year-old Kia Tidwell, a single mother of 6 children who was shot as she drove by the 1500 block of West 5th Avenue Friday night just after 8 o'clock.
She was just driving by at 8 o'clock.
daughter had just left my house. On her way Friday, she stopped by.
Tidwell's children range from 27 to 4 years old. She was one of 10 siblings, the 8th oldest.
She was a woman of God. She prayed a lot. She was also a case manager. She took care of other kids outside of her own family.
She was an awesome mother. She went to every basketball game, every baseball game, practices.
Police were dispatched to the McDonald's on a report of a disturbance inside.
A McDonald's. Where have we heard this before? It's McDonald's. It was McDonald's in New York. Y'all remember that one? It was Church's Chicken. There's an update on that, but I don't have it today. It's always some stupid ass fast food restaurant, right?
Once on scene, officials say a large group left the establishment on foot and officers heard a loud disturbance near Lincoln Street. Officers began to approach the group when shots rang out. According to police, that's when a red vehicle driven by Tidwell was shot at and crashed into a tree. Tidwell was pronounced dead at the scene.
We know for a fact that several people know who did the shooting.
Sir, I have no doubt that several people know what happened, who did it, when they did it, how they did it, and for what reason. But let's see what they do about it. I don't disagree, Mr. Lake County Prosecutor.
Several. And
this is in Indiana, too, even though this is not Chicago. My bad. It's Gary, Indiana, and they must be right, like, close to each other or something.
Asking them to come forward, work with us, work with our investigators, so we can bring some sense of justice.
Family members say Tidwell was born and raised in Gary. She moved her family to Portage for a better life.
And for her to basically be taken out by all the people who she kind of advocated for, it's sad.
Oh, ma'am, what did you just say? Back it on up.
For her to basically be taken out by all the people who she kind of advocated for, it's sad.
Then I think they probably have an idea of what, who, when, where, and how. However, I don't think I heard from, shout out to Future King Ben, Black Lives Matter, Sean, Ricky, Steve. Now, none of those people that don't have to, hang around there, none of this, right? They in their mansions, where Black Lives Matter is, right? She was helping the same people that, let me let this video play.
It's sad. And we are praying and we believing that this is going to be solved.
Anyone with information on this case is asked to contact detectives. The family has created a GoFundMe to help the children with expenses such as rent, groceries, and bills. You can find that link on our website. Reporting in Gary, Christine Flores.
Shout out to Gary, Indiana. And like I said, she's over there just trying to go home, just all random. And the little gremlins who, as soon as someone tries to do something about it with them, Black Lives Matter, it's racist, it's racism, how dare you? Oh my God, you're doing this to a black man, you're doing it to a black person, you're oppressing, all this mess. Okay. Shout out to Dr. G. Exactly. I will help you behind this damn computer screen. You will either accept and take the message or you won't, which typically it looks like it's a no. Okay. But I just feel like Al, Ben, and all the rest of them will not be coming down there to help out, even though I'm pretty sure, like she just said, the community knows who, where, when, what, and why. They got cameras everywhere, because on a different video, they're already complaining about the fact that the police haven't done enough. They're already complaining that the police haven't done anything, or enough, I should say. This happened on Friday. Today is Tuesday. I mean, I don't know what miracle they're looking for, but maybe someone should get out to the community where all this happened and see what they have to say about it. But child, what do I know? I don't know nothing. Moving on, child. Moving on. Let me see what Don is doing. He's still at the airport. Okay. So we're going to go to Pittsburgh. Former Pennsylvania Attorney General Regional Director charged stealing tens of thousands of dollars. Come on.
Tonight, the McKeesport Schools police chief, who also heads McKeesport's NAACP branch, is accused of stealing thousands of dollars to fuel a gambling addiction.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No, 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 no. I can't. What I do? I ain't do nothing. SKC was on for almost 4 hours today. I love when he's on in the afternoon, though. He's the one that gave us the drinking game idea today. I don't know if you were there or not. So whenever they say, y'all list them, okay? What do we expect to hear tonight? When you hear 5, we taking a shot. Shout out your 5 and we shooting it, okay? Shout out to YouTube. We're talking about drinking. Oh, we got to make the decision, though, because we all going to be drunk tomorrow, okay? My apologies to MICHONDENYSE. Thank you so much, hon. She said, hey, y'all. I'm pretty sure she's live streaming, but if you're here, thank you so much. Shout out to Celine. She said, thank you, Celine. She said, I'm going to buy a Doug cup, still voting for Trump. Celine got a crush on Doug for some reason. Don't forget that Doug did the nanny girl. But anyway, let's hear about what this, who is she? Former drug division supervisor at the AG's office, charged with stealing thousands from the Bureau to fund her gambling debt. The
NAACP branch is accused of stealing thousands of dollars to fuel a gambling addiction. Good evening. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Ken Rice. The investigation started after the same woman left her job in the state attorney general's drug division in Westmoreland County. Erica Stanish was there for her hearing this evening.
Brenda Sawyer was the regional director for the Attorney General's Bureau of Narcotics. And tonight we're learning she allegedly stole money from that agency and the NAACP McKeesport branch.
Oh, hell no! Oh, no. She stole from the NAA Colored Pete. How? She's stealing from you, coloreds? Oh, come on, ma'am. That's not how we do things around here. Against your own people.
Hearing this evening.
Brenda Sawyer was the regional director for the Attorney General's Bureau of Narcotics. And tonight we're learning she allegedly stole money from that agency and the NAACP McKeesport branch, totaling around $200,000 that was all allegedly used at local casinos. KDKA was there as 61-year-old Brenda Sawyer walked out of court Thursday night, now facing felony charges of theft, forgery, tampering with evidence, and obstruction. Sawyer retired as the regional director of the Attorney General's Bureau of Narcotics in 2024. Investigators say she stole funds while in that position by issuing 58 checks worth almost $46,000 between 2019 and 2024. They say she also stole $75,000 from the narcotics storage room.
Child. This is so stupid. She got to do this for 5 years approximately, and no one knew? For 5 years? 5 years. I mean, okay, she started in 2019. Maybe she knew C19 was about to do its thing and everybody was paying attention to everybody else, right? She got away with 58 checks worth almost $46,000. So at least I guess she did it in small increments. She didn't go for the gusto and say $5 million with one check, like them dummies with the Chase glitch, quote unquote glitch. And then just went into the narcotics. Shout out to Carter on Power if you know, you know. Yo, shout out to the cops on Power, because child, oh my God, you colored, you're so funny. You keep us laughing.
$5,000 from the narcotics storage room. Investigators executed a search warrant earlier this year at her home, where Sawyer said some of the money might be, claiming she kept safe money there for undercover buys if she couldn't get to a bank. Investigators say Sawyer
For undercover buys? What is going on? What does that mean? That sounds like DRUGS. What in the world? She said, maybe there's some money at home, child. I keep them over. I keep it under the bed. I keep it under the mattress, child.
$1,000 from the narcotics storage room. Investigators executed a search warrant earlier this year at her home, where Sawyer said some of the money might be, claiming she kept safe money there for undercover buys if she couldn't get to a bank. Investigators say Sawyer was also president of the NAACP McKeesport branch during this time, where she allegedly stole $52,000 by forging the treasurer's signature.
I thoroughly expect the NAACP to let her go, because you got to be a forgiving people. And if she needed it, then she should have it. And you want everyone to forgive everyone else. We expect the NAACP not to say one word and to just let her be. So if they don't press no charges, she actually might be okay.
Police say they reviewed Sawyer's 2023 tax documents and found she spent nearly $720,000 at Rivers Casino on slot machines. Police say Sawyer admitted she's been in debt consolidation since 2019, but did not.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Y'all, let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something again, okay? Many Black people just have no sense of financial literacy. How the hell you in a debt consolidation or literacy program for 5 years? Ma'am, it's not working. Why didn't they kick her out of the program? Ma'am, it's not working. It's just not funny. This is so funny, and yet it's not funny. I can't. Yes, it's heroic. Yeah, she gambled the money. She did all this to gamble and was in the financial help herself class for 5 years. 5 years. Woo!
It was related to gambling. But according to police, Sawyer had over $651,000 in taxable income between 2019 and 2023, while also claiming $435,000 in gambling loss and $441,000 in day-to-day expenses. The Westmoreland County District Attorney released a statement Thursday saying, in part, "No one is above the law, and we will hold those accountable who feel emboldened to abuse their power and position of trust." As we mentioned, Sawyer is the chief of police at McKeesport Area School District. We talked with the district solicitor, who says the district is still reviewing the charges against her, but he did confirm that she was placed on paid administrative leave today. Reporting in North.
So she can just gamble right now and still getting paid. Rivers Casino said, bring your ass, child. We do not care. Bring your ass. You can't make this shit up. You just cannot make this shit up. I don't know if gambling will come up tonight in the debate, but maybe thievery. I know it's thievery. Maybe thievery will come up, embezzlement, a white collar crime or something. Yeah, Hania basically rewarded for her bad, indecent behavior. Child. I'm still waiting for the NAACP. I want to hear what the colors have to say. Moving on, y'all. Moving on. They still focused, just to let you know, they still focused, I guess, waiting for Trump to come out. He gonna be late. It's 8:19, Ninja. Even though they're the only ones that's going to be in there, no audience or anything. Shout out to Elise up in here. Shout out to everyone who is here. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. Tomorrow we are doing Thornton Township, and then Thursday we are doing Dalton. We have a busy week. We're playing bingo tonight. List everything that you think that they are going to talk about tonight. And then if you get 5 of them, yell out bingo. And then that's when we will drink. You know what? The damn dacity. Hopefully Skinny Boy don't show up, or TQS, because ain't nobody got time. Let's move on. Because remember, crime is down, y'all. Crime is down. Yes, Daniel, but this is more important than that tonight. So that's why we're going to watch Thornton Township tomorrow. And then Dalton is on Thursday. I want to see this because it already looks boring from what I've already seen. But anyway, so Washington, 5 people arrested for burglary, property damage near Center City.
Video that came into the newsroom a little bit earlier, it appears to show a massive police response in City Center. That's downtown near the convention center.
Yeah, it was just before 3 o'clock this morning. D.C. police posted on X saying the department's investigating 6 burglaries as well as 6 incidents of property destruction. Our team is actively making calls to police to learn more about that response and those overnight arrests.
Right now, News 4's Joseph Omo joins us live from City Center with what we know so far. Good morning, Joseph.
Hey, Tony, good morning. 2 words, civil unrest. That is how D.C. police described everything that has happened overnight in Washington. You can see here at City Center, there's still quite a police presence. And let me show you one of the reasons why they are here. This is the Gucci store. If you've pulled up social media.
Gucci, Fucci, Poochie, and Lucci. Shout out to Luke Hazley. She says NAACP keeps getting scammed, also known as Rachel. We demand that Rachel Dollars all come back. Rachel, girl, come on over here. Come on over to our place. We'll talk to you, child. I think Rachel should get her job back, because if people can be men and women and switch off whenever you want to, be whatever race you want to, decide you want to be a kid, decide you want to go into somebody else's bathroom, locker room, and all that, child, Rachel can be black if that's what she want to be, okay? Shout out to grown men talking up in here. Look at you. Thank you so much, hon. He said, hey, Messy, blessings and respect to the chat. Shout out to you, hon. Thank you so much. Shout out to everyone who is here. Let's see what's going on. Oh, they broke into Gucci, Fucci, Poochie, and Lucci. I tell you.
Media this morning, you may have seen pictures of this or heard that there was a break-in at the Gucci store. You see one of the 2 doors has a panel over top. The other one there, straight through one of the security doors there inside the building was...
Now, listen, I know they needed this so that they could feed their families. I have no doubt that the reason that someone broke into the Gucci, Fucci, Poochie, and Lucci store is because of white supremacy, discrimination, racism, and they needed to feed their family. And lest we not forget that the Gucci, Fucci, Poochie, and Lucci has insurance, so you should just let them go. It doesn't matter. It's only clothes. It's not a big deal. And they can just do an insurance claim. Okay.
Damaged, kind of ripped away there or ripped off of its hinges. That is just one of the places dealing with destruction this morning. I want to show you that video that we got also. It was from social media. Viewer sent it in. This was the scene just hours ago in City Center. Police all up and down the street, a chopper high above. We know that this is not the only area affected, though, in D.C. Georgetown, a store in Logan Circle, Columbia Heights, the H Street corridor, all areas where police say there were incidents overnight of property destruction and or businesses burglarized. In fact, take a look at this. 5 people were told in a statement from D.C. police were arrested last night. 5 people. Because of that, the department says it's going to have an increased presence across the city this morning, which is what we are seeing here at City Center, guys. 6 instances of burglary, 6 instances of property destruction overnight. That's according to D.C. police. Yeah, it was a busy night here in the district.
So what is the problem, sir? I don't understand what the problem is. Okay, people need to do what they need to do, and I'm not sure why you're bringing this up. And I'm pretty sure they have to feed their family. Okay, and like Future King says, crime is down. By the way, Trump is on the move. FYI, Trump is on the move. So the plane is closed up and the car is on its way. Just FYI. So let's get a couple more before they start. Oh, I'm pretty sure this will come up tonight. Migrants attempt to board a school bus. Child, were they trying to go home?
Flipping story out of the East County tonight. 2 school bus routes in the Hamul-Dolzura Union School District were interrupted for 2 straight days after several migrants tried to board school buses. Our Sarah Legre has the story tonight.
Well, yeah, there have been 2 migrant encounters in the past 2 days involving school buses and young children here at Hamul-Dolzura USD. Now, no one was injured and all students are safe, but parents are angry.
Your initial shock is you're helpless.
It's practice night for Nicole Cardinale and her son Apollo. It's the ordinary, but their morning certainly wasn't.
20 illegal migrants tried to get on the bus today at a...
Girl, how you know they was illegal? That sound racist. Girl, how you know they was illegal? That sound racist. Did they have signs around their neck? How do you know they was illegal?
One of our bus stops.
Hours earlier, she got this email letting Nicole know her 8-year-old son was aboard his school bus heading to Hamul Elementary when all of a sudden,
Really confused. He said these adults, they weren't kids. He said, but they had backpacks on, Mom, and they tried to get on our bus. He said, and there was a lot of them.
the district confirmed 20 migrants tried to board the bus Wednesday morning when it stopped to pick up students here along its B route. That's when parents and the driver stepped in, keeping the migrants at bay.
It was definitely really scary.
It also happened Tuesday along Route A, shown here in orange near State Route 94. 3 men walked along the highway trying to stop the bus to, quote, go around their group.
When they see a bus, naturally the impulse might be, this will take me to a much safer area.
Pedro Rios helps lead the humanitarian response at the U.S.-Mexico border. He says while it's unclear why the group tried to board Wednesday, heat and mountain terrain can drive desperate response.
First and foremost, there has to be an acknowledgement by the Biden administration that asylum is a human right.
Parents like Jeremy Adams now demanding...
Child. Now asylum is a human right, child. I tell you...
answers from the district and a safety plan to help quell fears.
We don't know who these people are. We don't know if they have any criminal history, what their background is.
Meanwhile, the sheriff's office says it's conducting an investigation and says it takes safety very seriously and are working with the school district in order to keep students and the community safe. As far as Nicole goes, she's stuck with the what ifs.
It's just scary that these kids are put into this situation. If those 20 people would have gotten onto the bus and tried to take over the bus, like these kids and the bus driver could have been in real danger.
The superintendent says she's...
Ma'am, asylum is a human right. I don't know where you come from, but asylum is a human right. Everything is a human right. Everybody should have everything that they want just because they want it. I can't even believe this is where we are right now. I'm just thoroughly flabbergasted right now. I have to be honest. Whatever people say is what it is. That's why I'm inviting Rachel back. Rachel, bring your ass back. You colored. Come on in, girl. You colored. This is the most ridiculous shit going on right now. Shout out to Luke Hazley. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Shout out to everyone who is here. Thank you so much. Please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. I'm moving on because now I'm pissed. So I don't want to be in a bad mood. Let me move on. I cannot believe this is where we are. I can't. Let's go to Chicago, child. Chicago enacts a citywide. Oh yeah, it's a hiring freeze over in Chicago, y'all, because they're a little bit under budget. Just a little bit under budget.
City of Chicago has implemented hiring freeze.
Yeah, the move comes as the city tries to reckon a massive budget shortfall. And WGN's Brona Tumulty is joining us with the details tonight.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, the mayor's put a hold on hiring, attributing that measure to things like rising labor costs, a decrease in revenue from state corporate taxes, and high costs for city pensions. In times gone past, a freeze like this did not include public safety jobs, but that's the order that's come down due to an almost $1 billion deficit for the coming fiscal year.
Oh, yeah, $1 billion deficit. I wonder how that happened. Let me just think for a moment. Maybe it was because the baseball team had too many games. No, that can't be it. Maybe it was because there were too many tourists that came. No, that is not it. Didn't the baseball team leave or something like that, y'all? I'll have to have you remind me of what that was. I thought that they had all that money for the migrants. So remember when they started pulling money out of their ass and said, oh, we had all this money for the migrants, right? So do you think that the people in Chicago are going to maybe be changing their voting pattern since now they're $1 billion, just a little $1 billion behind, just a little billion? The taxes have all skyrocketed. You got Big Tiff acting like a damn fool. You got Pritzker, that's a billionaire, don't give a damn. You got Brandon saying they're just good gatherings, nice gatherings. People coming from over the border, they just friendly neighbors, whatever they call it. Child, I can't keep up with this bullshit. I cannot keep up with this bullshit. This is crazy. Shout out to Blade in the building. Shout out to Blade Daywalker. Always, 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 always good to see you, hun. Thank you so much for your support. Hot dogs are a human right. Of course. What else is a human right, y'all? Okay, because everything clearly is a human right, child. But y'all, I forgot. Make sure that you worry about racism. Because shout out to everyone, but I'm talking to you colors right now. The only thing that you have to be worried about is racism, because you cannot do anything. You cannot move. You cannot live. You cannot breathe. Life is so hard. You are oppressed. You're a victim. You can't make any money. Everything is taken away from you. You got to bow down. Everything is wrong for you. So you need to make sure that you're watching out for this racism that Ricky, Roland, DL, and Steve Harvey keep telling you, and Tiffany Cross and all the rest of them, Jamel Hill, that you got to be worried about. So you better vote for the black ass Kamala Harris.
Yes, I'm speaking to you. Musty tether, where you fleeing to? Musty tether, yes, I'm speaking to you. Musty tether, where you fleeing to? I got into my Uber. What did I see?
I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. But this makes me feel better. Shout out to Dr. G. Oh, shout out to Dr. G. My richest troll. Definitely my richest troll. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate your support, because, child, that's a pick me up, because I don't want to be $1 billion in debt, and I most certainly don't want to be stealing from my job like Miss Man with the blonde hair over there. Right now, checks in debt management for 5 years while she embezzling money to secure her gambling habit over there at Rivers Casino. Child, if you missed it, you missed it. Shout out to you, hon. Thank you so much. He said $1 billion not $1 billion deficits is a human right. Oh my God. Shout out to you.
Come up on soon. We gonna hook you up. We gonna make sure you get that backstreet fun. Yeah. You got a couple of kids. You don't have no job. Yeah. Don't worry about it, little girl. That's my job. Yeah. Come in by your pants. What the what? What a money reside. What a money reside. What a money reside. What a money reside. And that's on who? Man had a little lamb. Okay. Okay.
Do it. Yeah, you know I do it. I like getting high. I'm a hey.
Yes. And we got to worry about that as colors being crackheads too. Okay. We just got the everything on our shoulders, our big backs. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Shout out to Casey Cat late. We're gonna watch that tomorrow. Hopefully you come back, because I know it's an ish show, but we gotta get to important stuff tonight. Shout out to Blade Daywalker with another 2. Hot dogs are a human right, or did I get that already? Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you. Oh, I'm behind, child. I'm sorry. Shout out to Casey Cat with 5 memberships. Rob said I can't afford to pay attention. Y'all crazy. Shout out to Casey Cat. All right, you late. It's all right. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you. If you did get a membership, Celine. If you did, if you got a membership, please thank Casey Cat. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you, child. I can't. This is too much. Come on, tell us about the $1 billion, man. It's just $1 billion.
Sure. For us, the message that I have is this is, a year of very hard decisions.
The city of Chicago is putting the kibosh on filling any open positions. Non-essential travel is also out the window, and overtime is set to be slashed.
Hiring freezes are definitely something that we are exploring.
That conversation with Budget Director Annette Guzman happened last week. The freeze becoming reality today due to being severely in the red. The city's projected budget deficit for this fiscal year stands at around $223 million, but for next year it balloons to almost $1 billion.
We have new contracts that came into place last year with CPD, and we're in the midst of negotiations with the Chicago Fire Department.
It's really unusual
to have a hiring freeze that goes across the board, including essential services, emergency.
Okay, well, I think it's a problem with being in debt by $1 billion, sir. So desperate times call for desperate measures, I would think, right? Maybe it's just me. Maybe someone else should be in charge of the money too. Did anybody think about that, Bueller? Maybe whoever's in charge of budgeting and calculating ain't doing a great job either. Anybody talking about that?
Emergency services.
Police and fire departments are usually exempt from mandates like this, with Pat Cleary, president of Chicago Firefighters Union Local 2, telling WGN tonight this means, for example, the city's overworked paramedics already on mandatory rehire will be forced to work even more. But Mayor Brandon Johnson ran a campaign against hiking property taxes, which Civic Federation President Joe Ferguson says wouldn't fly anyway with Chicagoans.
People are seldom receptive to taxes except for really good causes. The cause here is having failed to do our homework in the past.
He tells us,
child, y'all about to try to tax the millionaires anyway. There's your solution right there. Remember we went over that video where they said, everyone should pay their fair share. We're going to tax the millionaires. No, listen, people would not, listen, this is what I think. People would not have a problem with paying taxes based on whatever the rate is, based off of wherever they land, right? I don't have a problem paying taxes. But what we're not going to do is have y'all sit up here and do whatever the F it is that you want, then turn around talking about we need more. You can kiss my ass. That's crazy. They already raised the taxes on most of the people in damn Illinois. You're $1 billion in debt. Your crime is out of the damn wazoo. Ain't nobody trying to do nothing about it, but you're going to still sit up here and vote for the same GD people and continue to complain? I see it now, just like Big Tiff. If she ain't taken down, I can see her being reelected. I promise you, I can see her being reelected. I don't care what nobody says. Shout out to Blade with another 5. Thank you so much, hon. He says they should let Tiff be. They might as well. They might as well. Child, just go ahead and give her the job. Just quit. Oh my God, can y'all imagine? So why is it, since you mentioned that, thank you so much, Blade. Since you mentioned that, why is everyone giving Big Tiff a hard time because of the tax situation, the money she's spending, how she's spending it, and nobody seems to say anything to Brandon? Now, I know people are saying stuff about Brandon, but ain't nobody, like, where they at? They were here when the migrants were there. At least that's when we saw all the videos, right? What happened? Where they at? How come they not outraged? Where their chat rooms at? What are they doing about it? At least they trying to get Big Tiff out. I don't see nobody really trying to get Brandon out. Child, whose responsibility is it?
Plus, the budget problems are a can that's been kicked down the road all too often.
Utilization of the word crisis is an important one here.
Guzman, to help close the gap, says they'll be looking at city programs and services that can be eliminated, along with new means to capture revenue. Ferguson adding he hopes going forward, city council members will keep their collective foot on the gas.
The city council needs to be critically involved, asking the hard questions so that the public sees that really the administration is being put through the paces.
Now, it seems as if a job offer has already been extended. That hire can likely move forward, but as of today, it is a freeze across the board.
Thank you, Brona.
Child, you can't make it up. Let's go to New York. I got an eye out. They just talking about where everyone is, just so you know. Polls show a tight race ahead of the debate. 47% for Cam and 45% for DJT. If you believe polls, because when it's not in anybody's favor, they don't want to believe it. And then they turn around talking about what do the polls say, child. Anybody got time for this? Anyway, let's go to New York. We got about 20 minutes anyway. FBI raids the home of at least 3 top New York officials. We are going to see what is going on so that we know what it is that we need to hear about tonight. Crime is down. Gucci, Fucci, and Lucci is having a time along with Lululemon. Everybody need to feed their family. Black people can't live, ain't got shit, ain't gonna get shit, and they oppressed and depressed and victimized. I'm sure they talk about the war. I'm sure Cam gonna try to bring up ABs, Roe v. Wade's. I'm sure she's going to mention, oh, you know what she's going to mention? She's going to mention that her and Joe Biden capped something at $35, child. I can't even remember what the hell it is, but we capped this at $35. Is the economy good? Do we need to put that out there? The economy is doing good. Talk about inflation. The economy is doing good, but there's inflation. Are they going to talk about the recession? Housing is a human right. Hot dogs is a human right. Asylum is a human right. Child, let me go over to the bank and be like, child, that money you got is a human right, and I want some. Shout out to our girl, Lauren. Insulin. Insulin's capped at 35. Thank you, hon. I mean, what more do we need? Everything's perfect here in the United States. Shy, everything's going great. Shout out to this lady in the red dress, girl.
The news rattling the halls at City Hall. Morgan McKay is in the newsroom breaking it all down. And what do we know right now, Morgan?
Stephen, Natasha, we're talking about a massive operation here. The FBI raiding the homes of at least 5 people in Mayor Eric Adams' administration, including 2 of his deputy mayors, the school's chancellor, and even reportedly the NYPD commissioner.
It is all about the kids. If there's any other comments that will be made, it'll be happening tomorrow.
A testy school's chancellor, David Banks, did not answer questions about the FBI raid on his home in Harlem that he shared.
I'm sorry, y'all. People keep saying that Tiffany's house got raided. I don't know why people are saying that. That's not true. Trust and believe, if Tiffany Henyard's home got raided, it would be on every damn news station. People just saying anything for the views. Okay, remember that. For those that might be listening right now, they might be over at Thornton Township, but people keep saying her home got raided. I'm like, it didn't. It didn't. Trust me, they would have been talking about in Dalton politics, and I'm not even in there as much as I used to be. They would have been talked about that.
With Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright. It is unclear at this time if the raid was targeting one or both of them, but electronic devices were seized from their home. FBI agents on Wednesday also raided the home of Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Phil Banks, the brother of David Banks. Phil Banks' attorney, Benjamin Brofman, confirmed this for us this afternoon. Phil Banks has been entangled with law enforcement before and was previously named by federal prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in an investigation into a police bribery scheme during former Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration. Banks abruptly retired from the NYPD in 2014, but returned to city government after Mayor Eric Adams took office in 2022. Additionally, numerous outlets are reporting that the FBI also raided the home of NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban. A law enforcement source tells Fox 5 that several NYPD executives, including the police commissioner, were told to turn over their phones immediately to the U.S. Attorney's Office with the Southern District of New York. A spokesperson for the NYPD would not go into detail, but said, quote, "The department is aware of an investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York involving members of service. The department is fully cooperating in the investigation." On top of that, FBI agents also raided the home of another Adams aide, Tim Pearson.
Child, look like a lot of coloreds and minorities around here. A lot of BIPOCs around here. A lot of BIPOCs around here. What is going on? Can anyone be trusted? Can that be a topic tonight? Can we trust anyone in our government anywhere at any level about anything? Anybody? Oh my God. Why does dude look like Carl Winslow? Shout out to Carl Winslow.
Who is currently facing multiple lawsuits for allegedly sexually harassing female employees and is facing a separate investigation for his role in a fight.
Oh no, and he essaying. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it.
Of another Adams aide, Tim Pearson, who is currently facing multiple lawsuits for allegedly sexually harassing female employees and is facing a separate investigation for his role in a fight at a migrant shelter. A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York would not comment on the investigation, but according to multiple sources, this investigation is likely separate from the federal corruption inquiry facing the mayor involving his campaign fundraising and possible ties to the Turkish government. In that investigation,
ties to the Turkish government? Where all the BBLs is going on, now we got to worry about ties to the Oh my God, I don't even know what to say. This is crazy.
Adams himself was served a grand jury subpoena in July and was forced to turn over his cell phones to the FBI. Agents have also raided the homes of his top campaign fundraiser and another one of his aides in connection with that investigation. City Hall Chief Counsel Lisa Zornberg in response said, quote, investigators have not indicated to us the mayor or his staff are targets of any investigation. As a former member of law enforcement, the mayor has repeatedly made clear that all members of the team need to follow the law.
There's too many people in too many places that clearly ain't following the law, not just here, but every damn where.
Now, as Adams was leaving City Hall today, he also told a few reporters there that they will continue to turn over any information the FBI needs, and he is going to continue to be the mayor of New York. Stephen, Natasha.
All right, Morgan, thank you.
What a statement. I'm going to continue to be the mayor of New York. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. All right, y'all. This is where we are. I'm on Forbes breaking news. They haven't started yet. Just want to keep you posted as we see some of the things that we need to hear them talk about today. Let's go back to Chicago. Chicago to close 3 migrant shelters. So where they going to go? Where they going, Fred?
It appears that the number of people crossing the border has been significantly diminished because of the policies of the Harris-Biden administration.
Illinois governor reacting to the close.
Oh, no! Oh, hell no. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The damn fat dacity. Yes, I'm fat shaming. I don't give a damn. He said we don't need them anymore because no one's coming because of the policies of the Biden administration. Nigga! No. They already all the fuck over here. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I cannot.
It appears that the number of people crossing the border has been significantly diminished because of the policies of the Harris-Biden administration.
And the Lord did not strike him for that. OMG. Shout out to Barry Harkins. Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you for being here. He said, I'm from Illinois, and that big billionaire blimp Pritzker, also known as Fred Flintstone. What a piece of you know what. We know he's a piece of ish. For sure. This is half damn. He got the all damn audacity to say those damn words. Woo! It's I'm telling you, you can't tell some of your colors anything. Shout out to everybody who is here, but I be talking to the colors most of the time. Can't tell you colors nothing, okay? Y'all want to believe it's about a woman and being black, and that's going to be your savior. And what you're going to end up doing is not recognize and realize that you're voting against your own damn interests at the end of the damn day. I told you I listened to Cornel West, and honestly, that's the person that the colored should actually be backing. But it's more about being a Democrat and the money that they get from being a Democrat and the money that they get from saying all the things that they say about Democrats. And that's why they're touting it. Because they're getting something back. And while you listening to them, they're getting paid and you staying where you at. They thinking about green. They make you black people think about white people and white people think about black people. And they all cashing in on their green just like the fat man on damn screen.
Yes, I'm speaking to you. Musty tether, where you fleeing to? Musty tether, yes, I'm speaking to you. Musty tether, where you fleeing to? I got into my Uber. What did I see?
And don't forget, black people, a lot of people that you be listening to ain't even FBA, and you be the first person talking about FBA and ADOS. And you be listening to the same people that you talk about, child. That's why I ain't got time for most of y'all.
Illinois governor reacting to the closures, 3 migrant shelters to shut down next month, the city announcing today. The Lakeshore Hotel on DeSable Lakeshore Drive closing October 24th. The shelters at 344 North Ogden and the 2200 block of South Halstead folding up operations October 1st, all due to what city leaders say is excess capacity.
We knew that at a certain point we were going to begin to consolidate our shelters because we had over 50% capacity available.
Chicago's deputy.
So this is 1 hour ago. This is 1 hour ago. Do you think maybe this is because of that $1 billion budget and they trying to say all these other things? I'm going to go ahead and lean into the $1 billion deficit, I should say.
The mayor of immigration, migrant, and refugee rights pledging to reduce disruption for existing shelter families whenever possible. The latest census showing about 5,400 migrants in 17 active shelters run by the city and state.
We've done our best to move people into shelters that are nearby.
Many migrants we talked to here in Pilsen understandably anxious to know more. The only thing they've told us, says Frangelis Torrealba, is that they're going to close and they're going to transfer us to another shelter. Another migrant we talked to worried about the impact on her children. One is already adapted to what's here, she says. The kids are in a school that's nearby.
I tell you, the way they end these things, I think a protest will be coming soon. I anticipate a protest coming soon, child. All right, we got 9 minutes. No one's on yet. Just FYI. Let me see if I can squeeze one more in. This is in Detroit. It was unnecessarily violent because, crime is down. 2 women doused with gas and lit on fire in Detroit, child.
We begin tonight with a startling investigation out of Detroit. A man apparently so angry about getting fired from his job that he went after 2 former co-workers that he saw as a problem. Arson investigators say the man ambushed the women, pouring gasoline in and around their vehicle with them in it, and then setting it on fire. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford. The women are expected to survive serious burn injuries. 7 News Detroit reporter Kimberly Craig has more with the witness who saw it all and getting an update on the investigation from Detroit Fire and Police.
I'm told the victims, 2 women who are best friends, drove together this morning in this silver Jeep. And moments after they parked, I'm told that's when a man who was recently fired ambushed them.
Just walked up and did it. Just walked up to it and lit them on fire. I heard nothing but screaming. That's something you see in the TV and movies. I never seen anything like that. It was crazy.
Thomas. Now he traumatized. Child, this is... But don't worry, y'all. As long as... Shout out to Critical Smoker in the building. I see you doing the damn thing over there. See you. Thank you so much for everything that you do, sir. All right. We may be watching your video tomorrow when we take a look at Thornton Township. Thank you so much for stopping by, hon. I forgot what I was saying, though, but shout out to Decline Management. Thank you so much, hon. He said Brown Lives Matter. Abso-damn-lutely. Abso-damn-lutely. Okay. So this dude is mad because he got fired. Just take it out on any old body. I'm sure clearly they fired him for a good reason. Clearly.
Crazy.
Thomas Saldana works at Tompkins Machine Products in Southwest Detroit, where 2 of his co-workers were ambushed in the parking lot by a man in his 60s who was recently fired.
He used to work here. About a week ago, they fired him because him and the ladies were arguing. I'm not sure the reason why, but he ended up getting fired. So maybe he thought that the reason why he got fired was because of them.
Early Monday morning around 6 a.m., shortly before the women, one in her 50s, the other her 60s, arrived for their shift, were told.
Oh, y'all. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm having a feeling. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm having a feeling, okay? Maybe they were involved somehow, some way. And then maybe the other person found out about... Oh, okay. Come on. All right, we on it. I guess they're getting ready to start. So we on it. But for that story, right? Maybe they were messing around. Somebody else found out. And then they told on them. And then that's why he got fired. And now he mad because the women he was messing around with probably got together and told on him. So this is what he did. I don't think it's random. But I'll try to keep up with that story because I just feel like they probably allegedly were involved, I shall call it. That sounds crazy. I'm gonna just come back to work and just toss this lighter fluid on any old damn body, right? Child. Everybody's crazy. Don't worry, y'all. Crime is down. And we about to get to getting. All right. We about to drink. All right. Here is the bingo game. All right. Now, listen, call out bingo and give me your 5. Tell us what it is that you're going to be listening for. Crime is down. ABs, the economy, Bidenomics, Roe v. Wade, child, anything, 5 of them. Say bingo and name the 5. We'll determine whether we're going to drink because we do have to go to work tomorrow. I ain't going to hold you, okay? Shout out to Wanawa up in here. Always good to see you, hun. Thank you so much for your support. She said, it amazes me how Chicago, Illinois has money for everything else. Many of us city employees, you in Chicago, many of us city employees are still waiting to get our jobs back from the C-19 case because we refuse to get injected. They quiet. Y'all remember that? Do people remember that? Thank you for even bringing that up, Anawak, because there was a time not too long ago where they said the only way that you could go anywhere, you had to get vaxxed. Anytime you wanted to work at places, you had to get vaxxed. And these places and these jobs and everything else was going along with it. And there's plenty of people who stood their ground and said, ain't no way, you're not going to force me what to do, as they now try to continue to force us to do so many damn things, child. I'm not even going to get started because I don't want to get in trouble. But thank you for bringing that up. That's a mess. $1 billion and no one is talking about who the hell is in charge of the budget around there. I feel like that's the first thing you need to go to, even though we know allegedly why it's that way. Now I keep saying budget, negative $1 billion. That's crazy. Thank you so much for being here, Nawa. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ricky Williams back up in here. Thank you so much, hon. He said, U.S. citizens that lost jobs, 1.4 million. Immigrants who got jobs, 3 million. Rate cuts coming. Dollar is going to crash. Beef stew and spaghetti, y'all. We better get over to the daggone Dollar General, y'all, and buy it out. Okay, we got to get ready. It is going to be a mess. I even got to calm down, y'all. It's about to be a mess. I even got to calm down. We got to see what's going on. Thank you so much, Ricky Williams. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Shout out to our girl, Ms. AB. Bingo! Already, child. Already. Thing ain't even started. I hear you. Thank you all so much for being here, hanging out with us. We drinking. Let us know what you drinking. Okay. Right now, I have vodka and orange juice again. I got some water, got a little snackety snack while we're here because I think this is supposed to be over at 11. Don't forget, tomorrow is Thornton Township. I will get that up tomorrow sometime. We're going to be reviewing that. And then Thursday, it is Dalton. We're going to do that one live. We're going to do Dalton live. Don't even come at me about damn microphones. I ain't got nothing to do with it, but we're going to watch that ish show. Probably with the Critical Smoker, if he is still here, we'll probably watch his live stream. And then I'm off on Friday. And then I see y'all on Saturday. All right. So y'all make sure you continue to send me what you want me to cover for you. Crime is down is always here. I know y'all like body cam. We got to look at the Tyreek, what's his name, the football player at some point, because he crazy too. But racism. First thing Jamel Hill said was racism. And they always bring Donald Trump's name up. Oh, by the way, I am Auntie Ruckus. Okay. For those of y'all that call me Auntie, you call me Auntie Ruckus now. Okay. Sister Ruckus, Big Sis Ruckus, whatever. That's my name. All right. I am a white supremacist known as Uncle Ruckus. We got to make sure we know what's going on. Okay. Shout out to Prince Elian. He said, here's my Kamala Bingo 5. Ukraine, Project 2025. Oh, Project 2025. Yes, for sure, for sure. Female reproductive rights. Middle class. Oh my God. How could we forget the middle class? Corporate greed and my free spaces, the migrants in the Yo, we might have to wait for every 10 because we're going to be drunk AF if we sit around here. I promise you, all these going to come out in the first 5 damn minutes. We might got to just say we're gonna take a sip every half hour or something because this is going to be a mess. You got to go. You got it absolutely right, Prince. Thank you so much, hon. Shout out to Blade. Thank you so much, hon. He says crime is down. The economy is great. The border is secure. Trump is a racist and hot dogs are a human right. I actually think that about covers everything. Yeah, I agree. Bingo. Blade already got bingo, y'all. I cannot. This is half damn crazy, but I agree. I agree completely. I cannot. Oh, look, BCP is on. Go Political, Almond Eyes, everybody is on. Shout out to NBC Philadelphia. Shout out to y'all. Thank you, everyone. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. This is about to start from the siren that just came on. Shout out to Ms. AB with another 2. Thank you, hon. She said she's going to keep bringing up his criminal case. Yeah, child, we can go ahead and expect that all damn ready.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face, historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for...
Do y'all think they're going to shake hands?
Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate. Thank you.
He wasn't going to shake her hand.
It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country.
Good one.
Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion. One of them is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. And they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess.
Girl.
What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook.
The
a bunch of
audacity.
lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So we staying here.
Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his
First, we're not
economic
on our
plan, it's all
website.
about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
Girl.
What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
The eggs is high.
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
You know what he's talking about right now. The voice changed.
You heard what the president said there because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out. When a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers'
not
rights.
looking at her.
But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point.
Ma'am,
When we know that she was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
Ma'am, we don't care.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics. And he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed.
Oh my God, I can't even believe we're talking about this.
Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before. He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact.
That doesn't sound neutral, ma'am.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime, a violation to their body, does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest.
It's not resonating, ma'am.
Being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Girl, go to hell.
Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to
Well, I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. Student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray
Oh my God, can we move
dream
on?
of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable.
We're not
And the
falling for it,
people of America have not, the majority of
And I'm a
Americans
woman.
believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could
veto?
do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to
Let's
Republicans,
go.
Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently?
Come on,
for President
David.
Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns,
Girl,
drugs,
answer the question.
and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this
So
comes
you're blaming
at a
someone
time
else when you're in
where
charge?
the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch.
Stick to the point.
You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you
about border
deserve
control.
a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would
So
like to respond.
Let me just ask, though,
She
why
didn't
did you
say
fight to
anything.
kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go.
Y'all,
And
we don't
the
care.
people that
It's on
do
the
go, she's
inside.
bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing
That is
nation,
true.
and it happened
That is
3.5
true.
years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country.
That's right.
And look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield.
Yep.
A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this,
seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of it.
The mayor and the governor of that other state said that nothing's going on with Venezuela.
You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
Supposed to be
President Trump, I'll give
border.
you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse
President
me,
Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for
We knew that was coming.
national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President
Both of y'all,
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to
President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized.
Ooh.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy
President
with a fake
Trump.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that
Oh
you've
my
made.
God.
But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on longstanding work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of all, I
response?
wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever.
When y'all
She
said that.
gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania.
You forgot to bring
If
up
she won
guns.
the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about
January
what you did on
6th,
that day?
shot. You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that.
Border czar!
She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me
But
just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th.
Girl!
I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital.
Don't do that thing.
Desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say?
Girl, I don't
There
care.
were fine people on each side.
Girl, I don't care.
Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican,
judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you.
True.
Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election. that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact.
Girl.
That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm okay with it because
your time is
I
up.
think we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here.
Oh, my God.
Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror, and they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life.
Wow, little
supported
bias
Israel
here,
and
y'all. Little
Israeli people.
bias.
He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center
Oh,
right here.
Lord, y'all. Sheesh, that's a lot going on. If they don't make that woman answer some damn questions. Oh my God. Let me go over the super chats, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Give me a second. Damn, this is back here to RBN. Thank you, hun. They act like Trump was the first racist in the White House. The person who signed the civil rights bill was a full-blown racist. Blade said that was a power move. Michonne, child, we so far away. That was crazy. Death Reaper, thank you so much, hun. Bingo. Lots of bingos. Everybody take a drink while we wait, okay? Shout out to P Love. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Sank Fan, thank you, hun. About to grab the whiskey. Yes, Lord, we need some drinks. Drink, y'all, drink. Thank you, Woke Hill, for being a member. She talking to her fans, not debating Trump. I absolutely agree. There's too much, all this yappity yap instead of answering the damn question. It's annoying AF. We don't give a damn about your mama. She don't ever talk about her father. It's always about her mammy and everything that she did. He won't even look at her. That's crazy. He won't even look in her direction. Even when he told her, basically, I'm talking, he still didn't look at her. I thought he was talking to the David Muir, the other girl. Shout out to Live from New York. Thank you, honey. Said Kamala with the same old vague blah, blah, blah. Shout out to Ms. AB. Run, spot, run. Oh, my God. We definitely got to clip that. Shout out to RBN. He said, no, he's lying. Trump inherited a robust economy from Obama, then passed a horrible tax bill for his billionaires. Now we are paying for that billionaire tax. I do not know. I'll let y'all debate that. RBN follows up with, these Democrats suck at their messaging. That is true. They all went to the Mr. Magoo debate school. Damn, not Mr. Magoo. Shout out to Mr. Magoo, though. Thank you so much, hon. Shout out to Saint Fan. Thank you, honey. He said, well, no handshake after this one. Yo, he wasn't going to shake her hand. He said, F her. I promise you the blogs will be talking about that. She had to go all the way over there. She's the bigger person. I can hear it now. I just assumed that they wouldn't shake hands, child. They'll say that was racist, y'all. I promise you they'll say that. Shout out to Live from New York. Thank you, honey. Said, so the moderators are only going to fact check Trump and not Kamala. Yes, that's all they keep doing. That's all they keep doing. Seriously. Shout out to Swole Bennett. Thank you, honey. He said at this point, Kamala is, thank you, hun. I'm going to leave that there. Shout out to Medic. Thank you, hun, for the support. I appreciate you. Shout out to Casey Cat. She says, I want Trump to bring up how covering up for a president not fit to serve is sedition and ask when Jill and Hunter and Kamala and the Obamas and Pelosi knew he was unfit. Child, that is the truth. Ain't no way in the world that they thought that man was okay all that daggone time while they said that. That is true. I wonder if he will bring it up. That would be amazing. Shout out to Ricky Williams. Thank you so much, honey. He said they can go to the DR for a BBL. You can drive your ass to Chicago. All I hear from Kamala is violins. Where's the orchestra? That's back at the AB talk where she want to get all this empathy and sympathy. Girl, these people can get over to Turkey. They can go to Mexico. They can go everywhere else to do everything that they want. But all of a sudden, it's a problem to go get a damn Roe v. Wade. Girl, go to hell. I do not give a damn about no damn ABs. I promise you. Shout out to Terrence for the 5. Thank you, honey. Said she made me forget the question he asked. So much word salad. That's this whole damn night thus far. Shout out to Live from New York. Thank you, honey. Said they left Kamala's rally early after Meghan stopped twerking. Child, honestly, I could care less who leaving rallies. I'm not even watching none of them rallies anymore because it's just an opportunity to just spout off whatever you want for all of them. I don't even care. If no one's interviewing them, I do not care. Shout out to RBN. Thank you, honey. He said they can't get past they eating American pets. Oh, my God. I did hear that about Haitians, if I'm not mistaken, right? They out there eating people's heads off of shit or something crazy. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Terrence. He said she has had 3 years to address everything she is talking about now. You know, people are going to try to say it was Biden. It wasn't her. She was vice president. She was just supposed to sit there. No, sis. Y'all didn't think this through. You wanted to take over. They wanted to push him out. You inherit it all. It all comes to you. I do not care. It all comes to you. Shout out to Live from New York. Appreciate you. Kamala and her Pope girl fantasy stories. If we hear one more word about her damn mama, I'm a scream. Shout out to Shamarcus. Thank you so much, hon. He said why she didn't do any of this as VP. Child, now there's a question. She didn't have to. She didn't have to. All right, we back. Oh, we about to be back. All right. Woo, Lord.
Pennsylvania. Here again, David.
Thank you, everyone that is here. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you are new.
Presidential debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president. They threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Girl.
I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine
Eat
tonight.
you for
Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country.
Yes!
Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is.
Seriously?
I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words.
Everybody can be anything.
I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black.
Exactly.
That she put out. And I'll say that. And then I read that she was black. And that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have
Say the American people really don't give a shit.
President who has consistently over the course of his career attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families.
Oh,
let's remember,
we want to bring up
same
the past.
individual.
Oh, we want to bring up
took out
the past.
a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States.
Oh, God.
And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other.
Girl, shut the
I
hell
meet with
up.
people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is.
Ooh.
Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
She is Biden.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan,
girl,
to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction,
girl,
to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling. Let's turn the page.
Did it
and
Harris,
move
with
forward.
that? Thank you. Let's turn to policy. Let's turn back to policy.
President Trump.
Let's turn to policy, please.
To defund the police.
Exactly.
She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's what her plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond
No,
because
Trump-
the
President
former
Trump-
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I
gonna
just
we're
need to
gonna move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care. Always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it, and we're going to replace it. But remember this. I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
Oh, now
I have
yes or no.
a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point
Of course you
that
do.
the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being you don't like him, you said at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it.
Healthcare is a human right.
The plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice
Past
President
prologue
Harris,
in terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a
She
lot
made
of
a mistake. At number one,
And that black
John McCain
yes.
fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Woo, Lord, y'all. I think I'm exhausted, child. I'm watching the police guy, child. I can't think of his name off. Child, what is his name? Hold on. I'm watching his chat. I'm watching y'all. Officer Tatum. His chat and this chat is the same. Y'all, everybody's saying the same thing. She is not required to answer the question. He's getting fact checked, and they both are going a little bit off the rails. She said, "Don't bring up the past. We not going back. All she do is bring up the past." He got all the lies. She only got don't lie, of course. Bringing up Central Park 5 at this point, it doesn't matter for today, okay? I know all that stuff, but I'm telling you, a lot of people just care about whether somebody likes them or not. We've talked about this before. Child, I don't give a damn. I need you to tell me how you gonna make it better for me. I hate when they say the American people, because, child, you ain't talked to none of the American people, and not enough to be saying what you think the rest of us want. I'm got to go backwards now. Shout out to Terrence Dantzler. Thank you so much, honey. He said, wow, agree. Shout out to Rainbow Kid. Appreciate you. He said, Affordable Care Act is trash, allows anyone to have insurance, but plans cost 5 times more now unless you're poor. I agree. It wasn't helpful to me. It actually cost me more money, and we have our own insurance. It made the cost of our insurances go up. So it ain't doing shit for me. And if we have Medicaid, then I don't understand why we needed it, but whatever. Shout out to RBN. Thank you, honey. Said, damn it, are you black or not? She wasn't going to answer that question. Now it's got to be all about divisive. As they say, vote for me because I'm black, basically. Shout out to Biden. Shout out to RBN. He says she's stumbling. She only black around black single mothers. Or when she's talking about AB's Roe v. Wade's, of course, because that's what all women want, especially black women, is to be able to get ABs. And whoever said, which we've already talked about, you can find a way to go here, there, and everywhere. You can go to Turkey for your BBL. You go to Mexico for your BBL. You can go get all your BBLs and go on vacation, see the world. But somehow, some way, it's a problem that you can't carry your ass over to Pennsylvania or wherever the hell else that you can get an AB at. Shout out to Terrence for the 10. Thank you, hon. He said, Messi, please help me pay my mortgage so I won't be on the eviction show. I can't help myself. I can't help but to comment, yikes. He said she put out. I ain't hear that. I ain't hear that part. Thank you, hon. Shout out to Live from New York. Thank you. He says Kamala is the queen of talking without saying anything. You got that daggone right. Shout out to Terrence with the 10. Thank you, honey. Said American taxpayers paid for the $83 billion of military equipment that Biden abandoned in that country. She is full of sugar, honey, and iced tea. They were saying the same thing over in Tatum's chat as well. Specifically, also, when you all were talking about the 13 deceased soldiers, salute to all the veterans. Well, Quill says, thank you, hon. If they will believe a black woman buys enough bacon to cook a bathtub full of greens, they'll believe anything. Who believes that story? I hope nobody believes that story. I hope nobody believes that story. I think I might be on repeat, but shout out to Terrence. He said, I forgot the question again. We're forgetting all the questions. Child, this is, goodness gracious. This is where we needed to be, though. This is where we needed to be. I don't care what nobody says. This is what we're supposed to be covering tonight. This is more important than Thornton Township, because at the end of the damn day, listen, I don't know if it's going to change anybody's mind from where they stand before to where they stand now. The coloreds and the blogs are going to say that she did a great job. We already know that the MAGAs and the conservatives are going to say that he did a great job. Honestly, everybody talking crazy a little bit, but allegedly she's got something which we can take a look at in a second on her website now. 50 some odd days out. She should have been had the shit done, but it wasn't anything she wanted to do, because a lot of other people besides us were calling her out for the fact that she didn't have anything on the site about what her policies were. We already been looking at Trump. He had his on there. We already looked at Cornel West. He had his on there. And I promise you, none of the colors went and looked at Cornel, even though he got every single damn thing that they want on that daggone plan, but no one wants to consider him. But they want you all, shout out to everyone who is here, but I'm talking to you coloreds, to make sure that you vote for her, because she's black, you black, everybody black, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes, I'm speaking to you. Musty tether, where you fleeing to? Musty tether, yes, I'm speaking to you.
Statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back.
Girl.
And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll
Girl.
tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC.
Child. Let's hear from Tatum.
Kamala Harris, with the questions that were asked and all of the other things included, I think Kamala Harris won the first round. Donald Trump won the second round, and I think Donald Trump cleared out at the very end. He gave a very good, concise statement. Why didn't you do it? I told y'all that's what he should have said. Why didn't you do anything about it? You run your mouth, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You've been in office for 3 years. Democrats have run the country for 16 of the last, or they run for 12 of the last 16 years. They've been in charge. Y'all kind of forget Barack Obama did 8 years. And then Donald Trump had 4, and y'all back in for another 4. And you're talking about all these problems that the country has. Y'all have been in charge for majority of the time. I don't know what they playing right. Oh, that's the beginning. Look how awkward she is. I'm Kamala Harris. You see her say, I'm Kamala Harris. These people are silly. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is a strong man. He has what it takes to lead this country. I think these other leaders are afraid of him because I think he'll really do things. Kamala Harris, we don't know who's running the country with these fools. Biden is dead. Kamala Harris, she's not the leader, but she's saying she's the leader, and she's been in all these rooms, but she don't have no real say because all this is frivolous. And they didn't get to some of the more radical things that Kamala Harris believes. We know that she want to take your guns away. She said it on camera. She said it multiple times. What she's trying to do right now is distance herself from the policy positions that have failed so you can actually see her as a revived person. She don't have a policy position. The radical left Democrats are going to take over as soon as she get in office. Now, I'm not here to convince you. Don't be stupid. Vote for the things that actually matter.
All right. I mean, let me go ahead and shout out Tatum, but child, first of all, that was an issue. It was all an issue. But shout out to y'all for being here and hanging in there. Thank you so much. But Kamala really want to talk about ABs. She trying to appeal to women. She trying to appeal to heartstrings, and that works. That's emotional tactic that works for a lot of women. Okay, we already know that. I'm a woman. Okay, I think I'm probably really a man at the end of the day because that shit don't work for me. I'm trying to understand what the hell it is that you're gonna do about this damn crime, and I don't feel like we heard anything about it, and they really didn't discuss it much. Because if we ain't here, then none of it matters at the end of the damn day. If you can't afford shit, the economy, then I'm just a little bit confused as to how anyone can go along with anything when you sit here and we got it all the time on all the videos, all the complaints about the food. So in other words, the people on TikTok, mostly women, want the government to take care of them. But when they ready to go on their parties, go on their cruises, be on OnlyFans, and then go to Europe and go to Turkey and go to the Caribbean, then it's going to be, you're not going to tell me. You cannot have it both ways. I'm telling you, a lot of the people that ask for all these policies do not think ahead, and what they end up doing specifically for Black people, because come on now, shout out to everyone who is here. My message is all for everyone, but it's definitely directed to Black people. Will sit here and complain and whine and carry on about shit that you inevitably have control over, but because you're so damn emotional and you don't take a step back and think about what the heck it is that should be important to you, you would rather listen to people telling you that you got a problem because of racism. Just like that dude, the football player that we haven't gotten to yet, the football player that got pulled over by the police. And I've seen the video, but I've also seen the videos where they said, shout out to Medic over in Tatum's chat. But I've also seen the videos where everyone was saying it was racism, is racism, is racism. Then the body cam comes out. Then all of a suddenly, I don't hear nobody apologizing. I don't hear nobody saying I was wrong. I don't hear nobody saying that we did Tyreek Hill. Yes, thank you so much. I don't hear nobody dialing it back. I don't see nobody saying nothing to dial that back. It's just if you can't see it, just take a step back. When you look at that policeman that was deleted a few weeks ago, when they were in there going to Sonia Massey's funeral, and he got deleted, he was Black. They didn't have one word to say about him. How can you care about Black people so fucking much, and yet everything going on with Black people, you ain't got shit to say about it? You ain't got shit to say about it. The only time you got something to say is when it's white people, but they want you to believe that it's white people. And I'm not saying there ain't no fucking racism. But what I'm saying is the reason that you're not succeeding or you ain't where you at ain't because of white people. It's because of you. And trust me, all these people that's telling you that you got to do something because you Black, they Black, we Black, all they care about is green. And that's what the fuck I care about, is green as fucking well. Okay. That's why you ain't getting no empathy, ain't getting no sympathy from me, because it's you that need to make a decision about your life and what you gonna do. So if you want to go out there and you want to hot girl summer it up and then turn around and say you can't afford the eggs and the milk, that's your fucking problem. You don't get on to fucking TikTok all made up, spiders, makeup and weave, talking about the fact that you can't afford where you live. You got your priorities messed up. But when someone says that, then y'all get mad. That's everybody. Then you get mad and say, who you think you're talking to? I'm talking to whoever want to listen. If you don't like this, go the fuck on. Shout out to Take Heed to the Message. Scroll the fuck up. But you don't know no more than me. And if I say that that's how I feel, then that's what it is. But what I'm also saying is that white supremacy, racism, and everything else is not the major problem for Black people. It's other Black people that you listen to because you don't want to do your own research, because you don't want to look into anything for your damn self. And it's easier just to listen to other people that can drag your ass along every single 4 fucking years. Black people are saying the same damn thing. Don't nobody come to the hood. They don't never come to the hood. It don't make no difference. It don't change your life. Ain't nobody gonna change shit for you but you. You're the one that needs to make your own fucking change. If you're so lazy, and yes, I said lazy, and yes, I mean lazy, that you're not going to do what you need to do in order to improve your own life for you and your own family, that's a you problem. Get on there and beg all the fuck you want to. Go beg all you want to. My concern is the fucking crime, mainly the crime. Because they can say it's down. I don't give a fuck about the percentage of nothing. Every day in Chicago, Oakland, Baltimore, Memphis. Hell, it look like we can add Detroit to the list. Now, it's always something. Hell, even in Florida, child. Come on now, you know Florida crazy. Sorry, Florida be crazy too. So we just supposed to ignore all that. But you got the NAACP colored P telling you not to come, or telling somebody, because they ain't talking to me, telling somebody not to come to Florida because of racism. Just think about that for a second. Did anybody from the NAACP move out of Florida since it's so bad? Did anybody from the NAACP of Florida move out because it's so bad? Bueller. You just had the colors, the Black Caucus over in California. Go back on your reparations. Y'all was bated breath waiting for Newsom to do them damn reparations. And who disrupted it? The black man on the damn show said it was you coloreds, the Black Caucus, that stopped that shit. But keep listening to these people. Keep listening to other people about your fucking life. We are at the bottom of so much shit for no other reason than you're scared to fucking try. And then you want to get on the bandwagon of saying it's somebody else's fault and it ain't nobody but yours. Go have 6 children by 6 different people, child. Wait around for fucking Section 8 all you want to. Sit around here complaining about your food stamps went down. Sit up here and continue to complain about you don't know what happened here. Child, these people act like the rest of us don't have problems. These people just act like because we can maintain and continue on that we don't have problems. It don't mean we don't have problems. We just don't, first of all, need to tell the whole world about them. And second of all, we're figuring out how to deal with them and not whining and complaining and blaming other people. All these single mother videos, child, no sympathy. Not near none. Not near none. You whining and complaining about doing it all by yourself. That's what y'all want. That's all this feminist movement is about. Is about you can do it all by yourself. Now all of a sudden you complaining when you got what you want. Defund the police. Defund the police. Now you're looking for police all over creation. Now you mad because the police don't come timely. Now you mad because they not doing it in a timely manner the way that you want them to do it. You can go become a policeman and police your own neighborhoods. That's what y'all was supposed to do. That's what y'all was supposed to do, remember? You were supposed to police your own neighborhoods and ain't a policing been done. You got Big Tiff down there acting half damn crazy. You got the dude over, I can't think of his name, over in DC on tape, taking fucking bribes. They still want to vote for him. They can't even put together the fact that the violence in your neighborhood is what's getting him the kickback, allegedly. Let me throw allegedly in there. The money he's getting is based off of continued violence in your neighborhood. And you know what that means? In my opinion, this is just my opinion. If that's what's allegedly happening there, that's what is allegedly happening in all these other states where there's so much violence and something happens and you come out and we got to do something and it's not right. And there has to be a way, there has to be something. And then nothing ever gets done. And then your politicians come out here and say, we got to do something. You right. Wash, rinse, repeat. Nothing ever gets done. Y'all don't want to look at anything like that. Y'all don't want to recognize, and I'm not saying vote for Trump, vote for Kamala. I'm not saying not vote for Trump, not vote for Kamala. All I'm saying is stop listening to other people and do your own fucking research. Go and see what the hell they talking about. Allegedly, she got something on the damn website. Let me look it up. Hold on a second, because as of the last time we looked, she ain't have shit. And it sure did take her a long MFing time in order to get that shit done. Child, goodbye. All this talk. What's the first thing you see? Give us some money. A new way forward. She made an update. A new way forward issues. Fighting for a new way forward that protects our fundamental freedoms. What does that mean? Strengthen our democracy. What does that mean? And ensures every person has the opportunity to not get by, to not just get by, but to get ahead. Girl, what does that mean? Build an opportunity economy and lower cost for families. Here she go with the same story. Grew up in a middle-class home as the daughter of a working mom. Middle class is strong. America is strong. Wash, rinse, repeat. Child, as long as I've been hearing politics, it's all I hear about is the middle class. Got into the middle class and see, oh, that's just talk, because that don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. She will fight to cut taxes for more than 100 million working and middle-class Americans while lowering the cost of everyday needs like healthcare, housing, and groceries. Girl, what? The all damn audacity. She will bring together organized labor and workers, small business owners, entrepreneurs. So in other words, just toss everybody in there and it covers everybody. And then everybody should vote for her. That's what I'm hearing right now. Just toss everybody and everything in here. And there you go. Cut taxes for the middle class. Y'all never do that. Y'all never do that. She's committed to ensuring no one earning less than $400,000 a year will pay more in taxes. More as compared to who, though? That's what I want to know. They will ensure the wealthiest Americans and the largest corporations pay their fair share so we can take action to build up the middle class while reducing the deficit. Girl, goodbye. Make rent more affordable. Oh, shout out to all of y'all complaining on TikTok. She's always stood up for renters and homeowners as an attorney general of California. Vice President Harris knows that a home is more than a house. Child, ain't that a song? It represents financial security and an opportunity to build intergenerational wealth. But for too many Americans, home ownership is too far out of reach. Harris has put forward a comprehensive plan to build 3 million more rental units and homes that are affordable to end the national housing supply crisis in her first term. Who believes that? Child, who believes that? And she will cut red tape to make sure we build more housing faster. Oh, so they can fall apart, and penalize firms that hoard available homes to drive up prices for local home buyers. She knows rent is too high and will sign legislation to outlaw new forms of price fixing by corporate landlords. Child, why didn't you do that beforehand? Look, why didn't y'all do this beforehand? They've been complaining about this. Child. Grow small business and invest in entrepreneurs. That's supposed to appeal to Black women. Okay, listen to me when I tell you, this is supposed to appeal to Black women because, you know, Black women got the most small businesses. We're the most entrepreneurish. That's what that's supposed to appeal to. Take on bad actors. Girl, what? Took on big banks to deliver for homeowners, stood up for veterans and students being scammed by for-profit colleges, and fought for workers and seniors who were defrauded. She will direct her administration to crack down on anti-competitive practices that let big corporations jack up prices and undermine the competition. Oh yeah, she's supposed to be doing something about groceries. And she will go after bad actors. Is that what it's called? Who exploit an emergency to rip off consumers by calling for the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on food and groceries, which will build on the anti-price gouging statute already in place in 37 states. Just like she did with Big Pharma to lower drug prices and cap insulin costs, just for seniors. Okay. I don't believe that either. Why don't you work on the crime so people can stop stealing, and maybe that will help it all as well? Maybe. I could be wrong. Strengthen, bring down the cost of health care. Girl, didn't you just do that with $35 cap on insulin? That's supposed to be your claim to fame, right? So she wanted to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, making permanent the Biden-Harris tax credit enhancements that are lowering health care. Child, you're not going to lower nothing for me. I don't care. Protect and strengthen Social Security and Medicare. That's pretty short. Support American innovation and workers. Working with Biden, passed landmark legislation, bipartisan, blah, blah. Supported more than 60,000 infrastructure progress. Infrastructure was something that Biden was supposed to work on back when he started. spurred more than $900 billion in private sector investments and doubled investments in construction of new manufacturing facilities. This has included investing billions to help connect all Americans to accessible, affordable internet. After decades of offshore manufacturing is returning across America from major cities to rural counties, creating good paying jobs, including union jobs and jobs. More than 1.6 million manufacturing construction jobs have been created, and American workers are rebuilding roads and bridges using materials made in America. 3 times more auto jobs per month have been created under their watch. Remember when the jobs report came out and then a few days later they said it was overpriced? They overinflated the number. All right, girl. She'll fight to raise the minimum wage. Haven't we already raised the minimum wage? How many times are we going to raise the minimum wage? You know, that probably has something to do with why the food prices are high as well. Just like with the $20 an hour for fast food workers in California, and then people are surprised that the prices of the damn food goes up. That costs too much for a Happy Meal. Well, then go home and cook. How about that? I know that's just crazy talk. Provide pathway to middle class through quality, affordable education. Fight to ensure parents can afford high quality childcare and preschool for their children. Strengthen public education and training as a pathway to the middle class. She'll continue working to end the unreasonable burden of student loan debt and fight to make higher education more affordable. How? So that the college can be a ticket to the middle class. How? Today, Vice President Harris has helped deliver the largest investment in public education. Oh, did she? In American history, providing nearly $170 billion in student debt relief for almost 5 million borrowers. Oh, she likes to take on credit for that. She want to take on credit for that, but anything negative, she don't want to take credit on it, right? Provided nearly $170 billion in student debt relief for almost 5 million borrowers and deliver record investments in HB. That's where you coloreds get what you need right there, okay? You get investment into HBCUs. So why do HBCUs continue to need help would be my question. If they're doing the damn thing and everything is everything, and, you know, I'm assuming they must be affordable, why do they always need help? Bueller? Anybody? Bueller? Anyway. Tribal colleges, Hispanic serving institution, and other minority serving institutions, then white people will go and sue because they'll say that that's discriminatory, but that's just me talking. She helped more students afford college by increasing the maximum Pell Grant award by $900. Child college, $16,000. Child college is $16,000 per semester. She raised it up $900. Girl, goodbye, ma'am. Invest in affordable child care and long-term care. All right. Lower energy costs and tackle the climate crisis. She won tens of millions in settlements against big oil and held polluters accountable. She cast a tie-breaking vote to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, the largest investment in climate action in history, blah, 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 blah. And of course, there's Trump's Project 2025 agenda. Again, what did she say? Harris's lowering cost agenda is a stark contrast to Donald Trump's plans to jack up prices, weaken the middle class, cut Social Security and Medicare, eliminate the Department of Education and preschool programs like Head Start, which I said I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Stop giving shit out. Those are the reasons why people continue to have kids, because they know the government is going to come in and save their asses. No. Why do we need Head Start when we're still disproportionately affected and at the bottom of the damn list in 2024? So clearly it's not working. So why continue to pay it out? I'm for that. Sorry. And in the Affordable Care Act, child, that don't help me, but whatever. What do we need the Department of Education for? If that shit was true where we saw where the grades were, we don't need no Department of Education anyway, because they failing that we had to change the damn grading system to be stupid. Let me be careful. To be stupid. You get an A if you get from 100 to 73, whatever that crazy number was. But, you know, take all that dumbing down, right? Just take all the dumbing down and nobody has a problem with it. Then they mad when they got to go back after being valedictorian with a 0.0173 grade point average, child. I can't take it. Project 2025 would give him unprecedented control to implement his destructive agenda, including another handout to his billionaire friends and giant corporations. So we never viewed the video that Anton showed on his channel where Chris Cuomo pointed out all the big donors and the money makers at the Democratic National Convention. We're going to have to look at that video. Chris Cuomo called it out and said, while they sitting up here basically telling you what the Republicans are doing with the rich people, they had the whole top row of all these billionaires, millionaires, and trillionaires at the Democratic National Convention, but want to say about what they doing, but don't talk about what you be doing, right? We're going to have to look at that. We're going to look at that this weekend, okay? Because, child, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. This is crazy. They all getting the money from all the big important people, but then talk about giving them their fair share. It's a fucking lie. It's shit. That's why I'm trying to say it ain't even about black and white. At the end of the day, that's just what they trying to have everyone down here focus on while they lining pockets, allegedly from the same people that they are telling you that they're trying to protect you from. Ma'am, can you just go ahead and let the shit be fair and stop having everything be so damn high? And y'all do something about Tiffany damn Henyard and all these other damn people that are out here wilding the F out. Do something about the whole state of Illinois. Do something about California. Do something about the city of damn Chicago. Do something about Baltimore. People don't even want to go to them places no daggone more. They got to be careful. Hell, they bringing their kids there and they taking them back home because they see the damn crime. Where's Shane Tao? We got to get back on her too. Where the hell has she been? What's she doing? Child. Anyway. Trump would raise rent in at $1,200 a year to the typical American mortgage. So Donald Trump is going to come into office and say, all right, everybody, I need y'all to raise the rent. He's just going to come into office and he's going to be like, I want everybody to get out there and raise the rent. Girl, what? Anyway. Shout out to Rob. I don't see nothing about no reparations on here. Corny's talking about it. Cornel West is talking about it, but y'all know they want to vote for Black Kamala. Trump's economic plans would also trigger a recession by mid-2025, says the people that are not trying to acknowledge that we already been in one. So we not in one. We've been talking about recession for like 4 years now. I can't take it. I just can't take it. And cost America over 3 million jobs, threaten hundreds of thousands of clean energy jobs, increase the debt by over 5 trillion, and send inflation. She said, send inflation skyrocketing. She said he gonna send inflation skyrocketing. What is it now? What is it now? Playing in your face, child. We ain't said that in a while. Playing in your face. And hurt everyone but the richest Americans. Oh, that's another thing they want to play y'all for is you po, they rich, and they bad, and you good. Child, there's plenty of y'all that are bad. Let me be the one to tell you. Not y'all, but you know what I'm saying. Safeguarding our fundamental freedoms. Restore our and protect reproductive freedoms. I'm not going over Roe v. Wade again. Protect civil rights and freedom. Wait. Why she got a Donald Trump ad lib at the bottom of her sugar honey iced tea? Ma'am, you focus, man. You focus. Look, Donald Trump at the end of I'm done with this. I'm done because now I'm getting mad. It's after 11 o'clock. I'm going to bed. I've had enough because now I'm about to get mad. This biatch. Child, I can't. I'm glad y'all hung out. Let me see what I missed. Shout out to Shamarcus. If I didn't read this, I apologize, hon. He said you can tell by her little smirks when he talks that he telling the truth. He did not look her way. I swear, I don't think he looked her way one damn time. And you know what? Shout out to him for that. Because, child, there's no need to be smirking and trying to intimidate or none of that. So you can't say that he was doing any of that for sure. But yeah, she was over there smirking. Girl, answer the damn question. We tired of hearing about your mama. We do not care. Shout out to Casey Cat. Thank you, hon. She said Tyreek Hill. Yes. Played here in Chiefs Kingdom. He beat his girl. Oh, he beat his girlfriend unconscious in the elevator and tried to drag her to the park. Child, is that what they do for a living? I feel like we've seen that before. Was all caught on video. We're glad he and all his issues are gone. Child, that's like the football players' anthem to do to these girls, and they will continue to go to them too. Shout out to RBN. He said, hashtag support the messy rant. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you. Shout out to RBN for another 5. He said, we love scammers and love to be scammed. That's right. Say we lying. We taking that into 2025. Black people love to be scammed. Shout out to Dr. Umar and shout out to RBN. Hashtag playing in your face. Shout out to Live from New York. Thank you, honey. Said, I'm going to let AI vote for me. Shout out to you, hon. Shout out to your excellence, sir. I see you. I appreciate you. He said, I switched her up. I'm sorry. I watched her switch up. Her eyes went from giggly to dark. I'm not riding with her. Child, Kamala convinced me with all of it. Okay. I ain't got time. I'm not playing these games. Ray Rice. Yeah, I think it was Ray Rice. It's like the football players' anthem to do that mess. Ain't it? Damn. Child, stay away from them football players, but they got money, so they gonna keep going. I promise you they're gonna keep going. Shout out to TQS bringing up the rear late, but thank you, hon. He said, nobody care about Tyreek Hill. He is a pookie. With like 13 kids, he is a joke with speed. Oh my God, all the tea. All the tea. Child, I ain't never heard of this person until this daggone traffic stop. We're going to have to take a look still. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Shout out to everyone that was here, everybody that hung in there. I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. Everyone that donated today. I don't think the Cash App came through. Hold on a second. I don't even know if I have my Cash App on. I gotta figure this out. No. All right. But I appreciate you. All right, y'all. We back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thornton Township, whatever the hell happened tonight. Shout out to the Critical Smoker. Shout out to him for stopping by. Shout out to Hannibal is Hungry for stopping by. We on it tomorrow. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you all so much. No outro tonight. I'm going to bed. Hopefully nobody is too drunk. We drinking tomorrow. Bring your drinks. I appreciate you. I see you all in the next one.